In the last several weeks, I received a few emails from subscribers to the channel. These guys were asking pretty much the same questions, so I thought I would address it in a video. One of these guys takes delivery of his new Onefinity CNC in a few weeks, and he's just not sure where to start. He's never used a CNC machine before, he's never done any design, and with his delivery date looming, he's feeling a little overwhelmed and out of his element. And those are his words. The other guy, I really feel bad for. He told me his Onefinity was delivered 4 or 5 months ago, and it's still in boxes stacked in the corner of his shop. He hasn't even opened the boxes to take a look at what's inside. So I'm going to talk about a few projects today, and towards the end of the video, I'm actually going to make one of these projects. What I love about these projects is not only are they perfect for the beginner, but if you're a veteran in this and you haven't done these projects yet, they can really benefit you as well. So what am I talking about? Well, if you're new to CNC, there's 2 things you want to do. That is, start simple and use cheap material. And it really doesn't get any more simple or cheaper than doing a V-carve sign on MDF. Now, I would suggest that your first few projects aren't like a gift for your wife on your anniversary or something for your mom on Mother's Day. I suggest you get a few simple projects under your belt, get a feel for the machine and the software before you make something that you're going to want to look at and remember for the next 15 or 20 years. So what I'm getting at is, I think a great place to start are shop projects. Simple signs that you can make that are going to be useful in your shop. Now, I'm not saying you have to make the exact signs I'm going to show you here. These are just some examples of what you can do. Look around your shop, your workspace, and I'm sure you can come up with plenty of ideas that would be useful to you. For me, I got a new variable speed drill press several months ago, so I made this sign to hang next to it. My new drill press has a digital readout of the RPMs of the chuck, so I made this sign as a quick reference for the recommended RPMs of different size holes in different material. It's hanging on the wall right behind my drill press, so all the information I need is right there at a glance. You can make a sign like this for any variable speed machine you have in your shop. Whether that's a drill press or a lathe or a milling machine, a sign like this would be very handy. Another great idea is a sign like this to hang next to your CNC machine. As you can see, this sign tells me the RPMs I get with the different settings on the Makita router I use on my CNC. Knowing the RPMs of your router or spindle is very important when you're performing a carve. So it's very convenient to have quick access to that information. Once you've done a few of these, you're going to find they're very easy to do, and you can make several signs like this in one day. Those 2 signs I just showed you, one was carved on MDF, and the other was carved on scrap pine that was an old bed frame my buddy was throwing away. So again, simple designs, cheap materials, that's the way you want to start on your CNC. That way, if something does go wrong and you do screw them up, you're not ruining a piece of oak or hard maple or purple heart or some expensive hardwood. But as I pointed out before, these projects can also be very useful for someone who has a lot of experience in the CNC world. So if you wanted to make your drill press RPM sign out of hard maple with inlaid walnut, go for it. I think that'd look really cool. And then once you get a few of these signs under your belt and you feel comfortable with the process, simple signs like this can make great gifts. Fairly early on, I made this sign. It's a design I think I saw on Etsy, and my wife liked it, and I thought, hey, I can make that. And this is just carved on a leftover cedar fence picket I had lying around. I applied the stain first and then did the carve, and I really think it makes an interesting looking sign. And that brings me to something else I told these guys, and that is, just do it. Just go for it. I truly believe that experience is the best teacher, and the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. Just go into it knowing you're going to break some bits, you're going to ruin some material, and if you want any proof of that, just watch some of my older videos. And yes, broken bits are a thing. Personally, I've only broken small 1/8" bits, but I have seen guys snap 1/4" solid carbide bits. And some of those bits, some of the more specialty ones, they can be $50 per bit or more. But if you're just starting out, you're doing some of those simple signs I've been talking about, you don't need that. I'll put some links in the description below to some quality bits that I use and would recommend to the beginner or the expert. All right, to sum up, if you're just getting started in this, start with some simple signs that are carved into inexpensive material that are for you. They're things you can use in your shop. They're easy to do, they're great practice, and they'll be useful to you for years to come. If you're enjoying the video so far, hit that subscribe button in the lower right hand corner and post a comment down below. It really helps out that YouTube algorithm. Thanks. So we've gone over a few projects that I think would be a great place for you to start if you're new to CNC and you're not sure where to begin. The project along these lines that I'm going to carve today is a tray to hold all my CNC bits and tools and tape and my calipers and other little things that I need when I'm using the CNC machine. So let's go over to the computer and I'll show you what I came up with. So here's the design I came up with. I sized the material to be the size of a tray that would fit in the little computer stand that I built for my CNC room. And then the whole design is just a series of different shaped pockets and then some holes I'll drill to hold bits. So if you look over here, this will be a little pocket that'll hold my utility knife I keep in the room. This pocket here will hold the wrenches for the collet on my router. This pocket here and this one here will just be for miscellaneous stuff. All these pockets here will hold various router bits, as will the holes. This is pretty obviously a spot for Allen wrenches. Then there'll be a little pocket here to hold the 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch reducer. This round pocket is for a tape measure. This large rectangle here is for my calipers. Then I have 3 more pockets along here, which will just be for miscellaneous stuff, whatever I need. So if we go to the 3D view, I can simulate the carve. So there's all the tool paths I have to do this whole carve. First I'll do a surfacing path on the top of the piece of wood that I milled up, and then all the pockets will start carving. As you can see over here, I have a few bit changes to make along the way, but I think the end result will be pretty nice. Alright, I want to quickly go over the bits I'll be using for this carve. I'll be using this 1/4 inch downcut end mill, and also this 1/4 inch 90-degree V-bit and a 3/4 inch bowl bit. But the bits I really wanted to talk about were these ones I just received from Garrett over at IDC Woodcraft. First of all is this 1.5 inch surfacing bit. Obviously the larger the bit, the quicker you can get your surfacing done. So this is going to be really nice to use this big 1.5 inch surfacing bit. And I got this bit that he calls the hog. It's a 1/4 inch roughing end mill. And the way this bit is designed is you can plunge at 80 inches per minute, feed at 80 inches per minute, and do a pass depth of 1/4 inch with an 80% step over. So there's a reason he calls it the hog. If you really need to take off some material quick, this is the bit that's going to get it done. I also got this 1/4 inch lightning bit. This is designed for drilling holes. With this bit you can plunge at 80 inches per minute, and you can go as deep as 1.15 inches with no peck drilling. So this bit's going to make quick work of those 1/4 inch holes I need to drill to store my bits. I also want to point out that he makes this bit in an 1/8 inch version as well, which I will be buying because it's perfect for making any type of game board such as a cribbage board where you need a lot of 1/8 inch holes for pegs to play the game. So I will be ordering the 1/8 inch version of this very soon. Another thing I like is when you're dealing with a smaller company like this is the personalized service. I got a handwritten note on the back of the envelope that all this stuff came in. Of course a sticker, which is great. That's going to go on my sticker cabinet in my shop. Garrett also includes some cards with these QR codes on them. You can scan these QR codes to quickly reorder the bits that you need or get information on the bits. So that's really nice to have. Everything was packaged nicely. The bits came in these little drawstring bags to protect them during shipping, and he even throws in a little pack of M&Ms. These are the little personal touches you get when you're dealing with a small company, and I really like that. Oh, I almost forgot the IDC Woodcraft pen. I did want to say that IDC Woodcraft is not sponsoring this video. I bought all that stuff with my own money, and the carve I'm doing today will be my first time using those bits. So you will see firsthand how they perform at the same time that I do. But Garrett's been very helpful to me in my CNC journey, so I just wanted to give him a shout out. If you found my channel, chances are you know about the IDC Woodcraft channel because that's quite a bit bigger than mine. But if you haven't been over there, I highly suggest you check it out. I'm sure it'll be just as helpful to you as it has been to me. Alright, enough of the talking. I'm going to get the material set up and we'll get this carve going. Alright guys, this is the piece of wood I glued up to make this shelf. I've made the back of it nice and smooth, and I'm going to use that surfacing bit to finish off the top. And I did want to point out that I didn't just mill up some wood and slap it together. I really thought about the layout of my design and which pieces of wood would be best for the top and the bottom, because this is actually 4 pieces of wood glued together. So I just drew out my design on here in a couple different orientations to figure out what was going to work best. For instance, when this pocket right here is carved, this knot will be completely gone, and everything else will be carved into really clean, nice wood. The only part at all that gives me any concern is this knot right here. This is where my holes will be drilled for my bits, and a couple of them might fall right on or very near this knot. So we'll see how that drilling bit handles this. I'm sure it's going to be fine, but that's going to be the one thing to watch. Alright, so I'm going to get this secured to the spoil board and get this all set up and get it ready to start the carve. As you can see, I am all set up behind me here to do that surfacing pass on this material. But I wanted to show you something that's pretty cool that Garrett over at IDC Woodcraft provides for people who buy his bits. Well, I guess anyone can technically use it, but the information is really geared towards the bits that he sells. So Garrett has an app that provides all the information you'll need on any of these bits you're going to use. The app's available for Apple and Android, and it's a free download. So I'm just going to go into my IDC Woodcraft app, and I'll click on Find My Bit. I'm doing a surfacing bit. I have the 1.5" surfacing bit. Now, as you can see, I have 0 bits in my list, so I own this bit, so I can add it to my list. Tells you all about the bit, gives you feeds and speeds, router bit data, and then there's a link if you want to buy this bit. You just click that and it'll take you to the IDC Woodcraft website and you can buy the bit. There's also an IDC Woodcraft tool database that you can download, and it plugs right into vCarve, and then you have all this information right in vCarve at your fingertips. But this is a number you're going to have to change depending on what size bit you're using, the spindle and router speed, also depending on what type of material you may be cutting. So it's this number right here is why I think it's a great idea for one of your first projects is to make a router RPM cheat sheet like I showed earlier. So I know I want the surfacing bit at 12,000 RPMs. I look over at my router cheat sheet and I know number 2 on the Makita router dial is 12,000 RPMs. So using an app like that together with this router cheat sheet that you can make really makes setting up your carves easier and quicker. Okay, so now I'm going to get this carve started, and I mean for real this time. So let's get it done. Well, that took a little over 2 minutes, and this is as smooth can be. It's like fresh out of the planer. All right, next up is the hog bit. Let's see what this thing can do. Alright guys, those are 1-inch deep pockets. That's quite a bit of material to move in about 17 and a half minutes. It was done in just 2 passes, and I think my feed rate could have been even faster. I'll double check on this, but I'm pretty sure the feed rates that you get with the bits, just the basic feed rates, are for hardwoods. So this being soft pine, I probably could have bumped up the feed rate a little bit. But in reality, 80 inches a minute, that's pretty quick. I'm not in a hurry here, so I'm really happy how this bit performed. Alright, I'll finish these pockets off with this bowl bit. After carving the 1 finishing aim, it's some more pockets with a 1/4 inch end mill. Alright, the last part of the CNC work on this is to drill those holes. I have 29 holes to drill, and according to the computer, using this lightning bit, that should take 3 minutes. That's pretty quick for 29 holes, so let's fire this up and see how it does. The suggested RPMs for this bit is 10,000, so I've turned the dial on my Makita router all the way down to 1. and I'm ready to get this started. So here we go. And that was 3 minutes and 1 second, just as predicted. Let's see how the bits fit. Perfect. Cool. Very happy with that. So after a little sanding, I have the tray installed in my computer desk, and I think you'll agree that this is going to be a great addition to my CNC shop. So this tray is not only going to keep my CNC bits and tools close at hand, but it's going to keep them organized as well. And those are things that can benefit both the beginner and the expert alike. So there you go. If you're brand new to CNC, consider making some of these projects I talked about today. And if this CNC thing is old news to you, but you haven't done any projects like this, go ahead and knock them out. They're quick, they're easy, and they're only going to help you out in the shop. So I hope you found this video useful, but most of all, if you're in a similar situation to those two guys that sent me those emails, I hope you found some encouragement and maybe a little direction on how to get started. And as always, I'd really appreciate it if you would like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get notified when new videos come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.